for the truth.
Give me the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me! You will never win, never again, my people ready for anything! No more secrets, no more lies, open your eyes, can you hear me? Destruction of the corporate corruption, feel my aggression now! The time has come, we are the ones we bring to pain! Nothing will ever be the same, it's judgment day and it's time to pay! We lead the way, we forward go, you can't stop the flow, you can't stop us now, it's the love you show! The family grows, you reap what you sow! Truth is rising! Is rising! Is rising! Is rising! Give me that truth, the hot truth! Nothing but the truth, get the truth, the hot truth! Nothing but the truth, get the truth, the hot truth! Nothing but the truth, get the truth, the hot truth! Nothing but the truth, give me the truth! This fire will burn everything inside! Stand up and fight for your rights! No rest for the wicked when John Red spitting, my people never forget it now! It's all over, you're out of time, the world is mine, can you hear me now? We're taking over, it's murder, so feel my aggression now! The time has come, we are the ones we bring the pain, I'm tired of bad news, the doom and gloom, my niggas in the White House, so fuck yeah! Nothing will ever be the same, it's judgment day and it's time to pray! Menina loca, la cosa nostra, bla sua boca! Is rising! Is rising! Is rising! Is rising! Give me that truth, the hot truth! Nothing but the truth, get the truth, the hot truth! Nothing but the truth, get the truth, the hot truth! Nothing but the truth, get the truth, the hot truth! Nothing but the truth, get the truth!
The secret government will continue in a few moments.
This image is of the painting and the disciples to the left of Jesus. Notice that the tablecloth has a pattern on it and all the food is visible. The bread looks very fresh. It appears to be a fish on the platter, perhaps another piece of meat on the plate to the right. All the disciples have small bowl-shaped cups. To the right of Jesus is Bartholomew at the end standing. John on the far right and Judas seated next to him. It is John that is being suggested as Mary Magdalene by many authors. I feel that this is truly the case after all the analysis. Here we can see one disciple with his hand like a knife across Mary Magdalene's throat. Like a knife. This is a sign of the first degree of Masonry. It means you would rather have your throat slit than reveals his secrets. Judas is seated next to her. He is looking up at something. His right hand is grabbing for a piece of bread and his right hand grabs a money bag. Behind and emerging from behind him is a hand clutching a trowel. Or a butter knife. The hand belongs to no one as it can be Mary's as. It is too far away and it does not seem to be anyone else's either. It seems as if Mary is being threatened not to reveal her secret. Mary here appears very feminine and she has a woman's eyelashes. The disciple too. Her right appears to be telling her a secret while threatening her at the same time. Judas listens intently. Above Bartholomew's head is what appears to be a chalice on the wall, but perhaps even more astonishing is the fact that there is a man's head and shoulders on the wall as well. His mouth is just above the chalice and his nose is in alignment with the center line of the cup. Both his eyes are clearly visible, the rest of his head and shoulders are faintly outlined on the wall. He may be wearing a hood. He has a sort of half-smile expression on his face. The chalice in the modern Grail mysteries represents the womb of Mary Magdalene, who was carrying Christ's child at the time of his crucifixion. Some say that Joseph of a Arimathea spirited her away to the south of France, or perhaps even to England. This image takes the corners of the roof as the base lines, and it shows how the line passes through Jesus' right eye. The all-seeing eye of Masonry. The eyes of the three disciples on the far left line directly up with Jesus' eyes. Mary, the disciple who threatens her, and Judas are all under the line. It would seem that the disciple second to the left of Jesus is Thomas, as he has a doubting look on his face and he looks similar to Jesus being called Didymus, or the twin. His face is in a small triangle all by itself. The angle at which Mary sits is used to make the cross below the table which frames Thomas's face. These are crosses of St. Andrew, the patron saint of Scotland, where were the origins of Masonry. This image shows the sightlines of various features in the painting. The lines are drawn according to where the fingers point. The disciple to Jesus' right has his finger pointing straight up, the sign for the first degree of Egyptian Masonry. The disciples to the right of Jesus all point to Jesus' right eye, as does the finger slicing across Mary's throat. The disciple to the right of the one threatening Mary points right to Jesus' heart, and the two lines form a cross of St. Andrew on Mary's throat. If we take a point at the plumb line from the disciple pointing upwards across Thomas' fingertip to the left, it points straight to Jesus' mouth. The word Judas is not listening to Jesus as he seems engrossed in his own concerns. Does his duplicity lie in his knowledge of Jesus and Mary? The line pointing to Jesus' heart goes right through Judas' eyes. Now we rework the circles and the lines and triangle, and we have what appears to be a rendition of the Giza plain with its three pyramids. Jesus forms the great pyramid. The triangle around Mary would be Khufu's, and there is a third small pyramid with the knife at its center. The makings of very good mystery story. In fact, however, the square of the is slightly offset to Jesus' right, and the line goes down his right cheek. He looks down and to the left, the traditional positions of Jesus' head when he died on the cross. If we now superimpose the plumb lines at center on Jesus' right eye, we get the full Masonic symbol with the G in the center starting from Jesus' right eye, and the square at the bottom starts at the left at the top right corner of the chalice, and then down to the bottom of the painting where it intersects with the plumb line from Jesus' eye, and then proceeding at 90 degrees to the top right of the picture. If we examine Khufu's pyramid, it has a problem. The angle is too shallow. It is at 45 degrees, rather than the normal 52 degrees. This makes the top, however, to be a 90-degree angle. This may symbolize that Mary Magdalene is the foundation of the Masonic order. In Masonry, everything is centered upon God rather than Jesus. Da Vinci seems to be turning this all upside down, represented by the checkerboard pattern being on the roof rather than the floor. The painting may his way of showing displeasure at the Masons for keeping it all secret, and it is his way of him revealing their secrets without getting murdered. Da Vinci died in 1519, over 200 years before the official start of the Scottish Rite in London. The Scottish Rite has always had royalty as its Grand Master. 1519 was also 100 years before Kepler published his Harmony of the World, which geometricizes nature. Kepler was the head of the music department at Tübingen University, where modern Rosicrucianism began with the publication of Christian Rosenkreuz and the Chimical Wedding. The motto of the Masons is, God geometrizes. In this image, the back wall sightlines have been removed, and we use Mary Magdalene's eyes as the sightline for the caps of the pyramids. We also take the tangents from the circle at 45 degrees from the bottom axis, and then we take the line from where Mary's pyramid intersects with Jesus' pyramid, and when we emphasize the pyramid lines with the new lines, we get the Giza plateau with a Star of David over the Great Pyramid of Jesus. Da Vinci seems to be revealing a crime here hidden in the creation of the order itself, and he returns Jesus to his rightful place as the source of light rather than the worshipful master of the lodge. The pyramids state the claim by both the Rosicrucians and the Masons that it began in Egypt. Alexandria, Egypt is where Mark historically set up his secret school, giving his disciples a golden cross with a rose on the axis symbolizing sub rosa. Keep it secret. Keep it safe. The Star of David represents Jesus' role as King of Israel and King of the world. For Masonry, God is not an active participant in the world, but rather is the great clockmaker. He sets the universe in motion and then lets it play out. The architect, rather than the king of the world. Deism. In deism, God made all the laws at the beginning of the universe and has no further interaction. As a king, God rules with justice and can change it all as he pleases. Many are the plumb lines in the painting, as are the square and the compass. The trowel may be the butter knife held in a hand coming from nowhere. I can find no rough ashlar and no tassel, which may indicate that Leonardo had no connection to the order. In this final image we have the Star of David, the Giza Plateau and the lines from the cup. If we take the line from the ghost image of the man above the chalice's mouth right at the center line of the cup, to the point of the Magdalene Pyramid and onwards to the center line of the Star of David, it is right on Jesus' heart. The cup is dear to Jesus' heart and is then the bloodline of the King of Israel, his progeny. Does this all mean that Jesus had a child with Mary Magdalene? We cannot tell from this. Did Leonardo believe that he did? That too is uncertain. It seems rather that he sought to expose the secrets of the Masons in such a way that it would not get him killed, and that he thought the fact that the order was keeping these secrets was a crime. If the true bloodline of Jesus was intact, then Leonardo may have felt it should be remade, and that the illegitimate kings of Christendom would have to bow to their true and rightful king, who was of the royal bloodline of Jesus Christ. The Sangreal. It may too be that Chrétien in his original telling of the quest for the Holy Grail was presenting Masonic secrets in a different way over 300 years before in 1190. The Grail was considered a bowl or dish when first described by Chr. Chantetrois. There, it is a processional salver, a tray used to serve at a feast. We see a silver platter in front of Jesus. In the late 12th century, Robert de Boron wrote in Joseph de Arimathea that the Grail was Jesus's vessel from the Last Supper, which Joseph of Arimathea used to catch Christ's blood at the crucifixion. That would indicate that the ghost man on the wall was Joseph of Arimathea. Was then the Grail a cup that caught Jesus' blood? The Sangreal or the womb of Mary Magdalene? In Chrétien's incomplete poem, dated sometime between 1180 and 1191, the object has not yet acquired the implications of holiness it would have in later works. While dining in the magical abode of the Fisher King, Perceval witnesses a wondrous procession in which youths carry magnificent objects from one chamber to another, passing before him at each course of the meal. First comes a young man carrying a bleeding lance, then two boys carrying candelabras. Finally, a beautiful young girl emerges bearing an elaborately decorated Grail, or Grail. Is the beautiful young girl the one seated at Jesus' right hand? Is it Mary Magdalene? Da Vinci leaves us with a very great mystery, and a far greater one than any scholar has presented before with this masterpiece, The Last Supper. Much more analysis of the painting is required to ferret out any other hidden details and their meanings, as I know there are still several secrets to be revealed. One last very interesting item is derived from another painting, The Grail Castle, by Hans Thoma. In 1899. The painting is obviously of the Cathars castle where they made their last stand against the Crusaders. The Cathars have long been considered to be the defenders of the Grail.